As you've been told, my name is Caesar. I work for the National Museums of Kenya. Not only on underwater archaeology, actually we deal also with terrestrial archaeology, where we look at what is on land. And now because we are developing underwater archaeology, we now move to the sea and link these two types of heritage. What does the sea mean to us? Actually, the sea means a lot to the people. Not only those who live around it or close to the sea, but also those who are far away. The sea is a factory. The sea is a farm. The sea is everything. The sea is a place for recreation. The sea is a source of livelihood. There's so many things. There's a lot of benefits that the sea brings to the people. When you say the sea means a lot, as a farmland, as you go to the farm and cultivate and grow crops and make money out of that farming, the same is for the sea, for the communities who live around it. Fishing is an economic activity. Fishing means a lot to the local people. Fishing is one of the industries recognized by many governments. Fishing is a way of life of a people. So the sea means a lot. The sea is a marketplace. When you go to the shops, when you go to the mall, when you go to buy things, you know, the sea has the same. The sea brings about many people. It's a melting pot. The hinterland, the faraway areas of the continents and the world will meet through the sea. The African oceans, the lakes and the rivers link communities far and wide. We have people in the coast who are able to export and import from outside because they can cross the oceans, and they can market and sell their products far away because the sea connects them. So the sea becomes a marketplace. There are so many ancient cities, even to the present, like Mombasa here is one of the most important cities along this African coast. It's a marketplace. There are people coming, goods coming all over the world, and they are sold here. There are things that are exported from this country to this city of Mombasa. So this sea makes us connect, buy and sell goods, and it becomes a marketplace. The sea is a place for recreation. Not only today, actually communities that live in this coast and many other areas along the oceans have used the oceans and the lakes and the rivers in different ways for recreation. Swimming, diving, sailing, competitions. You've heard about the Lamu Cultural Festival, whereby they organize sailing competitions. This is a tradition that has been there for ages for communities that live in the oceans. So it is a place for recreation. It's a social place. We have the internet, we have the social media today. When there was no social media those days, people would meet in these areas and would really pass time and exchange ideas. So the sea means a lot to us. The sea has a huge potential. Today we can utilize the oceans in a number of ways. In terms of cultural heritage, there is so much potential that lies under our oceans. And many people may not be aware that actually there is a huge resource that countries and governments can take advantage of and create jobs for their people and develop industries that can develop the communities. If you go around this exhibition, this is a testimony of how maritime and underwater cultural heritage can be utilized and create employment and develop communities. When in the ancient times, as my director said, our oceans have connected and were connected with communities far and wide. The Romans have mentioned this coast as way back more than 3,000 years ago. We have records by the Chinese, the Arabs who came to this coast. And our people from this coast also traveled and were able to bring back home different technologies and different ideas. We have buildings here which is not a local architecture, which is borrowed from outside. And that has been possible only through connections through the sea. Internationally, the ocean has a lot of shipwrecks that as a result of people traveling to this coast and connecting with our people. These shipwrecks actually can be utilized not only for dive tourism, but they are huge potential for scholarship. When we talk of modern shipbuilding or modern development of ports and harbors, they don't just grow from anywhere. Harbors and the big ports that we have today are as a result of communities identifying suitable sites for landing the small crafts. And over time, they grow into the massive and large-scale ports that we have today. There's so much that lies in the water that we need to exploit. There's a huge opportunity in our coast, in our lakes, in our rivers. Tourism, as many would think, is a resource that is yet to be tapped in the underwater. There are so beautiful shipwrecks, and this exhibition here is an example of Kenya, where we have very interesting sites which are not that very deep. And Batoli Jahawi is a witness. He's been into these sites, and our oceans, actually, the water is not cold. At Europe and where it is, I think in Europe it is sometimes impossible to dive. It's very, very cold. But here you don't even have to bother so much. With these participants here, we've been diving here with them, and sometimes I'll just go underwater with a pair of shorts because the sea is warm. So there's huge potential for recreational tourism using our maritime cultural heritage, which of course should be sustainably managed to ensure there is no danger. We have national pride. In fact, Kenya was the first country in sub-Saharan Africa to recognize the potential of underwater archaeology. Way back in the 70s, when the St. Antonio shipwreck right outside Fort Jesus was discovered. Thereafter, there was excavation, and the site was developed. Excavation was undertaken and materials taken to the museum. If you've been to the museum, it must have been a small display of that museum. That was way back in the 70s, and it was the first time in this continent, in this sub-Saharan Africa, that the value of underwater archaeology was identified. From that time onwards, we have developed capacities, and we're still developing capacities to ensure that this continent can manage the cultural heritage. We are proud of this St. Antonio. It gives us pride because it is our shipwreck in this country. There is a opportunity of scholarships. These participants have come here to study and learn about underwater cultural heritage management. This is scholarship. We can go and do our PhDs, we can go and do our master's programs, we can go and do undergraduate studies in underwater archaeology. The challenge is that for African countries, especially in the sub-Saharan region, these disciplines are developed. We need to create this capacity. We need to come up with these programs in our local universities. There are, however, lots of threats that counter the management of our underwater cultural heritage. And one of them is the threats of Capacity in this part of the continent of Africa is very low, and this is a result of not having programs of underwater archaeology in our local institutions. There's a danger of development. Actually, there's so much happening in our continent. We are building ports, we are exploring for oils and minerals in our seas, and without care and serious look into the underwater cultural heritage, we are likely to impact and fail to take advantage of the potentials in these sites, because we may look at development more than what this cultural heritage can bring. But with serious awareness, we need to develop this heritage alongside other natural resources that we have. Application of conventions and policies in most of our institutions is low. Kenya, for example, we have the National Museums of Kenya Heritage Act, a very powerful legal framework which actually recognizes underwater cultural heritage. But for many countries in Africa, and especially in sub-Saharan Africa, it is never recognized anywhere in the legal frameworks. So it is a challenge, and it's a threat, because the locals are not informed and the governments are not aware. So now this kind of awareness creation and training, especially, for example, when you see these participants from different countries coming to Kenya and going back to their countries, they'll be able to raise the awareness, they'll be able to psych the governments, and I'm sure in the next 3, 4, 5 years, we'll be able to be talking about different things in Africa. So the sea means a lot, and we have to look now from the land into the sea, because there has been a lot of programs for cultural heritage on land. I give an example of Kenya, whereby we have developed so much of our sites on land. In fact, the National Museums of Kenya has done so much. I was telling the participants that nearly in every other town there is a museum, meaning that there's serious efforts to ensure that cultural heritage in this country is protected, is managed well. However, when we go into the sea, these efforts are now bearing fruit, and you're now realizing that actually there's a huge potential that we can actualize from the oceans. So when we need to develop and develop holistically, we cannot overlook the underwater cultural heritage, because the sea has a lot to offer. And if we are to take advantage of the oceans and what it offers, as my director said, we need to develop policies and legal frameworks that will enable us to sustainably utilize the underwater cultural heritage. In this case, I want to end there and say we need vitamin C, and we want to look seaward now and improve our countries and grow our economies through the underwater cultural heritage. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sister Bita, for that inspirational speech. Nafikiria tumefurahi sana. Hebu tupigie NPC makofi mazuri zaidi for that keynote presentation. Ametuelezea kuhusu bahari na umuhimu wake. Na nataka kidogo tuchangamke kwa sababu naona tumezungumza mambo mengi. Yuko Malenga hapa, mshairi wetu mzuri sana. Yuko pale gani Malenga? Mbona umepotea tena? Malenga ambao ndio huyu waje pole pole hapa. Aje atupatie niite shairi ama niseme ni ngonjera ama niseme nini, lakini huyu bwana is from the Swahili port and is going to give us some peace.
Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening. Naiangalia hadhira naona wengi watu wazima, na watu wazima wanikumbusha marehemu babu yangu. Marehemu babu yangu aliniambia ukiona ndoa imedumu kwamba mume na mke wakaa pamoja miaka 10, miaka 15, miaka 20, basi lazima kuna mmoja aliyeamua kuwa mjinga. Lazima kuna mmoja aliyeamua kuwa mjinga, na katika hilo wewe ndio mwanamke hawezi kuwa mjinga. Kuna rafiki yangu mmoja ana mke wake walikosana. Sasa huyo rafiki yangu anatoka kazini jioni, mke wake hampika, mume akakataa kula. Na moja kati ya tamaduni za pwani ni leso.
Kidogo Malenga. Kuna mabwana wengine Kiswahili hawakijui. Sasa walikuwa taka kidogo apate translation. Is that so? We wanted some translation in the first
Someone doing translation.
good. Somebody is doing some translations there? Then I should give you the mic so that everybody else can hear.
Naomba nikimaliza wafanyie sawa.
Wafanyie okay. Sawa. Aya, sasa tafanyie.
Asante. Sasa huyu mume ankosana na mke wake. Mume anarudi jioni hataki kula. Mke wake akaenda chumbani, akitoka mvalishi imeandikwa ukisusa wenzio wala. Wakalala, wakiamka asubuhi mume amnuna bado enda zake kazini. Mke akatoka chumbani na leso imeandikwa ukitoka wenzio waingia. Mume akaona kazini kuendeki, akasema nakaa hapa. Mke akaingia chumbani, akitoka mvaleso imeandikwa umjinga na mdhibiti hana pa kwenda. Mume akaona kushakuwa kubaya sasa, wacha mtoke nikamweleza shuhuda yangu, pengine tukirudi atatushauri hapa ndani ya nyumba. Mume akatoka akarudi na shahidi yake. Mke kaingia chumbani, akitoka amvaleso imeandikwa mvamie ndiye siye. Yule shahidi akaona kumbe mimi ndio nazidi kuharibu. Akamwambia basi shemeji yangu mimi naondoka, nenda zangu mimi, kwa vile hapo kidogo naona hali si nzuri. Yule mke akaingia chumbani, akitoka ameandikwa amvaleso imeandikwa kantangazo kwa ondako. Ndio maana ya leso hiyo. Lakini nami leo ni mtihani kidogo. Kuna shuhuda yangu mwanamke alikwenda kazini siku moja, akirudi mke wake za singa zinunua zote. Asema nywele zake za mashungi za kumeta na kung'ara ameziona nyingi, amezinunua kipara. Nywele hazifungi, mgongo zimeudara. Mke umenyoa nywele, mume mchezee nini? Hupenda kuzichezea nikizipaka mafuta, mara huwa za pepea, mara husongo matuta. Leo nikosea mkwenda kuzikata. Mke umenyoa nywele, mume mchezee nini? Huzisafisha mwenyewe kwa mafuta na sabuni, huzichana zipumue kusudi ziwe laini. Leo nilotaki wewe wasema kuna chao ndani. Mke umenyoa nywele, mume mchezee nini? Sura imebadilika, si Saida ni Saidi. Kishogo kimekutoka na komo nalo kuzidi. Mtandio hukukai, vivote ngautanda. Hujulikani yai wala mfenesi tunda. Wengine hawafai, uzimbi utawashinda. Mke umenyoa nywele, mume mchezee nini? Hayaziache ziote. Usianze kueruka. Mawigi usiyalete nyumbani kukaja kunuka. Maana mtamamati waachelewi kutapika. Malenga 001.
Makofi jamani, makofi. Okay, I don't know whether I'll be able to translate all that because it was going fast. But he talked about, you know, in our culture we have some dresses that we drape, the ladies drape around them as they are working. And they have some proverbs, some sayings, you know. So those also called, tunaita nini yale maneno? Misemo, sio? Misemo, yeah. So this lady was at the house with the husband, and when she went out, she came out with a different, we call them leso. They're closer to that. So the leso. So when she got out, there's a different message in the leso, which was telling the man that hebu nipe moja katika leso. Ukisusa wazee wala. That is the Swahili part. But in English, if you play around, other people will eat whatever is it. If you joke around, if you're joking or playing, if you play around, guys will go with the food. So the leso was written that, and the lady was walking around. So there's a message that is being portrayed to the man. And so the man decided to move out, but he was told, wherever you're going, you're going to kind of announce whatever happened in the house. When the leso was draped. So it's a long story, but it's, I think the message is that the lesos that the ladies dress normally have some communication. Yeah, they communicate. So let's go for Malenga. Malenga, asante sana. And he talked about other things, but I can't really translate everything because he was very technical in terms of the Swahili. Now we're going to watch a film. It's a musical video called Bahari. As Arturo will be preparing the panel for the discussion, let's watch the video, music video, Mombasa. It's about Bahari Yetu. It's from the rising from the depths, the NGO rising from the depths. So while you're watching the video, Arturo will be preparing the panel for discussion, which will come in front and sit as we prepare.
Mwamba wetu wa pwani, Afrika Mashariki, ujanja wetu majini, chikavu hapa kwa peki, tumesafiri melini, tukenda paka Iraki, safari ugaibuni, kweli zilita malaki, mitumbwi na majahazi, sambamba vilipishana, miji ikawa imara, na ikapendeza sana, kisiwani Songo Mnara, Shangamanda pia Tana, Chibwene na Zanzibara, kulijengeka bwana, kwa dhati yao mapenzi, haikuwa masiara, vizazi hadi vizazi, vilijaliwa busara, watoto pia wazazi, na tena mara kwa mara, wakaitunza bahari, uvuvi ukawa imara, tumia dema kuvua samaki, milazo litamalaki, uvuvi wa sumu hujuma wataki, kwa moyo ule wa dhati, bari heshima kwa mambo safi, safi, safi.
Uvuvi wa sumu kwa wataki, oh safi. Bahari yetu, tuitunze, tuitunze. Urithi wetu, ni wa kwetu tulinde. Bahari yetu, tuitunze, tuitunze. Urithi wetu, ni wa kwetu tulinde.
Ukanda wa pwani wote maisha yao murwa, waliziunda ngalawa vyombo vya kusafiria, kutembelea visiwa Komoro na Mafia, waliondoa ukiwa Sofara Somalia, Wakenya hasa kwa sana, Madagascar wa kwanza, Msumbiji wa pambana, Zanzibar sauti paza, watotowe kila kona, wakapate kujifunza, historia ni pana, yatufaa kuitunza, letu sote lefahari, uvuvi haramu hoja, ijadiliwe vizuri, wasojali ni vioja, tukawape ushauri, makampuni, serikali, msimamo uwe kuntu, tuwe na moja kauli, bahari urithi wetu, maendeleo vizazi vyetu, hali mali tuwarithishe wanetu,
tufuate miko, sote tukabadilike, makazi holela mwiko, waharifu tuwasaki, kutaka mabadiliko, sheria na mkondo wake, kukomesha choko, iwe masali ya meli au miji ya zamani, viwe baharini mbali au pembezoni pwani, viwe vya zamani kweli au hivi karibuni.
That's our local talent. That's youth from the coastal area who are doing very well. Emmanuel, I think you had that. We're better than the Nigerians, yeah? Yeah. So that was a good presentation from the video. Now, Aturi is ready to do a panel discussion. It's about the role of community in cultural heritage protection and promotion in Africa. And he has some participants in the workshop who they're going to discuss with. Welcome, Aturi.
Thank you very much. The song that you just heard, probably we all felt that I wanted to dance, but I didn't want to make fun in front of you all. It's one of the songs of the project of Rising from the Depths, especially somehow it has spread very quickly among all the youth as well, and well, it make us feel dancing and getting that message of the